fabric day. Yay!
We got lots of fabric.
Perfect. Perfect.
So we have some beautiful batiks and some thread to go with that, and an awesome book to get you some quick quilts done with a few fabric options to go with it.
Alrighty.
So what should we talk about first?
Well, I don't know. Let's start with the batik.
Okay.
Near and dear to my heart. You guys know that. Had to have some batik bundles, some new collections you guys haven't seen on the floor. They only just came in and we saved them. So this neutral bundle is amazing. It's called Sticks and Stones. It is from Island Batik.
Yeah.
And it is just such a really cool looking bundle. You could add a shot of color into it if you wanted a real punch of pizzazz, or keep it really neutral, soft and quiet, but I don't know, they're just amazing. I had some fun on our wall of Aurifil threads, chose some colors that I think go really well with them. So those will be available as a bundle as well. Again, this is our Sticks and Stones, and it's available in both fat quarter bundles and half meters,
yep.
10 fabrics in each collection. So lots of ideas to choose from. And then there is this amazing pink and purple and blue bundle, and it's called Fancy Feathers, also from Island Batik. Love the colors in that. You guys will actually have seen me working with some of these fabrics in one of my videos. So near and dear, colors amazing. Loved working with all of those. Again, that's the Fancy Feathers grouping, and threads that I chose to go with that as well. Some colors that work really well for piecing and for quilting. So super pretty.
Even when those came in, I'm not really a huge purple person, but those came in and I took them out of the box and I was like, oh, those are really pretty. And I jive with Leanne about working with batiks all the time, but
yeah.
I actually really love the feel of them and how they work, but I just have trouble really picking ones that go together well. So I just like to give her heck
We
of it.
commits all the time, but have a great time together. And yeah, so really great fabrics, and you'll enjoy working with them.
Yeah.
You guys have heard me talk about clappers. You've seen me use them in my videos, etc. We have them in the store, these amazing gypsy quilter clappers, and in 2 different sizes. And the idea is that after you have pressed, while your fabric is still warm, you pop that down on top of the seam that you've just pressed, and the wood helps to draw the heat and the moisture out, gives you a flatter, crisper seam. To be honest, that's one of the reasons I like batik so much, is because the seam stays so nice and crisp and flat. The batiks and regular cottons do amazing things underneath your clapper. It just can help that little bit more to flatten things down, and that means a little less bulk when you've got a lot of points.
Absolutely.
And a lot of seams coming together. Anything that you can do to help to keep that bulge from being too thick and lumpy, and your long armor will love you as well.
Definitely.
So highly recommend the clappers, and we do have them in the 2 sizes.
Yeah, batiks do press really well, and that's one of the things I like about them too. But again, when you can't pick colors that go together,
you do a great job with them. But keeping with the pressing theme, just because we're still there, you've also seen and heard me talk about the strip sticks. And I love these things. They are flat on one side and nicely curved on the top. They came home as a new find from a quilt market quite a few years ago. And I've popped them into so many of my projects now, where I've got seams that are being pressed open with the curve on the top of it that elevates the seam you want to be pressed up above everything else that's laying flat on your ironing board or your table surface, whatever you're ironing on. So any of those other seams are not disturbed. All you run along with on your underneath your iron is the seam you want to press from the wrong side open, and then you flip it over, and then you can lay it flat on top of your wool mat or whatever your pressing surface is, and give it a shot with your iron, and again pop the clapper onto it as well. The pressing details can make a big difference, folks.
It's almost more important than sewing an accurate 1/4 inch.
Sometimes.
How many times have you actually pressed one of your seams open with your raw edges facing up, and ended up pushing one of those seams that are running the opposite direction off the where it was supposed to go?
Yeah. The other thing is it helps to prevent a fold. Because the last thing you want is to only press part of the seam open and you flip it over and you've got a fold, and if you're trimming down with any rulers, now all of a sudden it's not lining up the way that it's supposed to. So this is a huge help in that regard. And we have 3 sizes. So there's a little shorty guy. If you do small things that you want to be very specific with your pressing, it doesn't always have to be seams that are open. Sometimes they can be seams to one side. Again, you want to elevate that and keep it away from any other seams or anything else that you don't want to be touching with the iron. So sometimes a little small one to go on with small projects. This is the standard size.
Great for throwing in your travel bag too, and traveling with it to class or the cottage or wherever.
Definitely. Yeah, this one I believe is 18 inches. I think that one's 9, and this one's 22. So this is like your half width of fabric.
This is called a fat quarter one, I think. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's good for a
whole
quarter.
length of a fat quarter. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Great tool.
Yep.
I love mine. I use it all the time.
Yeah. Me
and
too.
we see students coming into class all the time with them too. Now that we're doing classes again. And they're really popular.
Yep. Very much so.
I guess I'll stick with the pressing and go with the Gypsy Quilter Mist bottles. These are fantastic for if you make your own starch, if you just like to use water, if you like to use best press, but the sprayers kind of, make you a little crazy. You can put your starch or starch alternative in the Gypsy Quilter bottle. Has a nice little twist top and sprayer. And it sprays a really nice fine mist so that you're not soaking one part of your fabric and barely getting anything on another.
Very important.
So we have those as well.
And a fun block on the front.
Yeah, absolutely. You can customize them too and, make up your own stickers or,
Great idea.
Doodle on them, whatever you want to do.
Perfect.
We'll swing back to fabric again.
It is Fabric Stash Day.
Yeah.
So yes, we need more fabric.
Goes with the fabric.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
We definitely need to take care of our fabric and make sure it looks pretty. We're featuring the 3-Yard Quilts book this year, and I've taken a look through this and actually drawn out a bunch of these in EQ and given you an idea what these fabric bundles that we're featuring will look like. Now keep in mind EQ can sometimes fall a little flat, but it'll give you a good representation of what the quilt will look like in real life. The awesome thing about this book is that you can take 3 1-yard cuts of fabric with a little bit of contrast in between them, and all of a sudden, what do you know? You have a quilt. Just 3 1-yard cuts. And these are all simple, straightforward piecing that includes your binding, not your backing. And so we have put together a few bundles, and you can grab yourself the book. And so we have a gorgeous flannel combination from the Winter Elegance line. We also have a couple of more batik ones. This was, what one was that? This is a couple different lines.
A couple different lines, just the colors and the contrast gave us what we needed.
They were just
pretty. That was the main thing, yep. And they're blue, they are pretty.
And then the Rhythm and Hues line, if you're a music fan, you can grab those. This one was fantastic in a couple of the versions that I laid out in EQ. I'll pop them in the video so you can see them. And of course, all those examples will be on the actual website with the different bundles so that you can get an idea. Then we had the Poppies line, and that was gorgeous too. Holiday Lane, if you want to have a little bit of a festive feel at the lake. If you've got a cottage guy or a fisherman, that would be fantastic. We've got one for the kids. This is a super cute line. We only got in a few bolts from it because they were just adorable. It's called Nocturnal, and it's got these cute little owls, and I think they're deer and more birds. Anyway, and some more bird fabric. This is from our Home Sweet Home holiday line. Some birdhouses, pine cones, and a couple more batik bundles. So we've got some nice purples, pinks, and greens, and some nice earthy greens and beiges.
A lot of these patterns are great for featuring a large scale print. Some of these have some really cool designs on the print that you lose when you cut them up small.
Into tiny pieces,
Exactly.
yeah.
So a lot of these patterns have a feature block. So that's why some of the fabrics we chose have a feature pattern in them.
Yep.
And it works really well to showcase them more so than a 1-inch square will do.
And the really cool thing about this too is with these patterns, it really changes the look of it. Even when you take, say we're doing fabric 1, 2, and 3, and all of a sudden we do fabric 2, 3, and 1, or 3, 2, and 1. Mm-hmm. It really changes the look even then.
Change the placement.
Same fabric, same quilt pattern, you just change where it is. And because it's 3 1-yard cuts, they're pretty much used equally in the quilt. It's just a matter of where you lay them out makes the difference.
Your own personal preference and what the fabric is speaking to you about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just remember to take a look on the website and
some great bundles.
Yeah, something will speak to you for sure. Next thing you know, you've got a couple of quilts done.
Yep.
The last thing we're going to cover today is Synthropol and Retain. If you have ever got a quilt put together and thrown it in the wash and all of a sudden it comes out a different color than what you put it in because your fabric bled, this will save you. If you know that your fabric is likely to run before you have constructed it into your quilt, you will want to use Retain. So they both do basically the same thing. They stop your fabric from running or bleeding onto each other.
Yeah.
Retain you want to use before you make it into something. It will help set any excess dyes and prevent them from running. Synthropol you want to use if you have already made your quilt and the first time you washed it, it bled and you're like, oh my gosh.
Now what?
What am I gonna do? All of that white background is now pink.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to be that color. So Synthropol will actually it will help to bleed out the excess dye on purpose and prevent it from redepositing. So you want to make sure that you use this. You can use this before it's been made into a project as well. There's nothing wrong with that. The one thing you don't want to do is after your quilt's bled, use Retain, because that will help to set everything that has just bled.
Yeah.
So
individual pieces, Retain. In the quilt, it's Synthropol. I've heard of people who actually wash their laundry regularly in Synthropol because it helps to capture the loose dyes, especially from new dark colored clothing that you can get. Captures them and keeps them from setting into other
if you're one of those
fabrics.
People who doesn't like
puts everything together,
doesn't like to separate your laundry, here you go. And the Retain can actually, if you have a nice black sweater or a nice black pair of pants, something like that, you can actually use that to prevent it from fading as quickly too. All fabrics are going to fade eventually with repeated washing, but it will help to really set those dyes. Mm-hmm. So those are very, very handy and very, very nice to keep in the cupboard just in case.
In the laundry room.
So that's it for fabric
Some
day.
pretty cool things. Yeah. Lots of great ideas, some different things for you to think about, and some fabric.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Christmas without some extra little bits of fabric.
No. Christmas is the perfect time to treat yourself to something that you might not normally splurge on.
Perfect.
So,
sounds good.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
One of us will be back.
Who knows? These are all filmed out of sequence, so Merry Christmas, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.